I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com, and HTC and Samsung may be playing the Android game pretty hard in the United States, but overseas, they're getting some pretty stiff competition from Sony. Announced at CES, it's the Sony Xperia Z, and it's packing a quad-core processor, Android 4.1, a 1080p HD display, and more. Let's check it out in PhoneDog's full unboxing of the Xperia Z. HTC and Samsung are really playing the Android game hard in the US, but when you look at the market from an overseas perspective, kind of the global Android market, Sony is really doing well. They've done well with a lot of different devices. They're very popular in different countries overseas, and that continues with the Sony Xperia Z. This thing was announced at CES, is available worldwide right now. The Xperia ZL was announced as well, and I hope that at some point that makes its way to the US. We bought this from NegriElectronics.com. Love those guys. Special shout out to them at NegriElectronics.com. They send you cool things. I love this card that they send you with greetings from Negri Electronics just to make sure you're happy with your order. So huge thanks to them at NegriElectronics.com. Also, before we get started, some love to my partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like this for use in our One Paw Bandit game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll deal with unbiased reps. You can walk out with a device that fits your needs the most at Best Buy Mobile. So let's take a look without further ado. Sony Xperia Z, and specs-wise, this thing competes with any other high-end device on the market. It's packing a 1.5 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon S4 Pro CPU. It's packed in a nice little box as well, a pretty thin and light device. Or I said device and box at the same time, devox, with a couple of different stickers here on the back. Sony Xperia, and there it is, the Z, as our overseas friends call it, but in the US and America we call it the Z. Sony Xperia Z. Beautiful looking device all around. We'll take a closer look at it in just a second. And then of course we've got, let's see here, back. We've got a couple of different stickers, it looks like. Clean service. So they send you some stickers so you can put it on and keep it safe. And the method and the instructions on how to get those installed. Sony startup guide, important information, SAR information, FCC statement, all that good stuff. And then you got over here an adapter. It looks like a UK adapter. And then you've got your USB cable and some earbuds as well. You can get this device from Negri Electronics for about $773 US, although the ZL is available on Sony's store right now, or coming soon, I should say. It's not available for purchase, but you can take a look at it, and supposedly the LTE bands will work with AT&T and hopefully at some point in the future T-Mobile in the US. So again, a rundown of specs here. 1.5 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon S4 CPU. You got a 5-inch 1080p HD display, so beautiful with 441 ppi. You got a 13.1 megapixel camera on the back. You got a 2.2 megapixel camera on the front. Really just a good-looking device all around with instructions on how to open it up, which I was not paying attention to when I was talking, which seems to be my problem in life in general. But really a beautiful device. I mean, this thing, build quality-wise, is gorgeous. Would love to see this come to carry, and I'd love to see it get some traction this time around, because we've seen some Xperia devices on, for example, the TL on AT&T, but I would love to see it get a little bit more traction all around. Android 4.1 out of the box with this phone as well, so you're getting Jelly Bean goodness out of the box, and then you get a 2,330 milliamp hour non-removable battery. So over here, volume rocker, you got your power button, really kind of an industrial look and feel with the power button just in the way that it looks, and then you got a little, looks like an SD card slot, either micro SD card slot or a SIM card slot. I can't quite tell just yet. Let's pull this out and see exactly what it is. Power button, I'm sorry, headphone jack up top, and let's take a look here. Let's see, it's not wanting to come out. Or my fingernails aren't long enough. You have to have good fingernails in this job. That's something I've learned over the 4 years that I've been doing this. Micro SD card slot over here, so I can only assume this is the micro SIM card slot, which is giving me a heck of a time trying to get it out, but really just a well-built device. Let's go ahead and power this sucker up without a SIM card, and we'll see it load up with the splash animation, the boot screen, and all that good stuff. So you can see here, Sony is the name going forward. It's no longer Sony Ericsson, just Sony. And you know, the thing I love about this device, and I hope that we see this in the US market as well, is the level of connectivity you get as part of the Sony ecosystem. I mean, there are a great wealth of Sony applications, Sony accessories, and more that you can get with this device. I hope they bring that same ecosystem to the US if this phone comes, presumably, as the TL. But beautiful device all around. The display is absolutely gorgeous, and you can see here 60% battery. We're loading up right now. You know what? We'll stick with English UK unless there is a US version. Yep, there we go. United States. Go ahead and go through the initial setup here. Important information. I haven't really read it, but you know what? It's probably the same all around. Data disclaimer, yes. Agree. And then through here you got your applications as part of Android 4.1. So again, Sony's Timescape UI running atop Android 4.1, and you've got your applications down here at the bottom. On-screen buttons, you've got back, home, and recent applications right here with some Sony tips and tricks, as you can see right here. And so we'll load that up and take a look at it right now. You got calculator shortcuts, memo shortcuts. It looks like you can write a note. So much like Samsung with their on-screen options as a result of the Galaxy Note 2, that multitasking thing is really starting to take off. Out of the box, we'll go ahead and do this in alphabetical order here. Alarm clock, album, backup and restore, diagnostics, Gmail, all the typical Google stuff. And obviously because this is a carrier unbranded device, you're not seeing any carrier installed applications here, just Sony stuff that comes out of the box. So Play Memories Online, Smart Connect, Social Life, Sony Car, Sony Select, and more. So, I'm all about ecosystems. I think it really in 2013, it's all about the software of these devices because from a specs perspective, they're very similar all around. And so, I think it's a software benefit for a lot of people. How you can use that device in your daily life is really going to drive people to buy a phone like the Xperia Z or the Note 2 or the One X Plus, or actually now the One by HTC. It's all about the software experience, and I think Sony's got a great value play. I just hope they bring that stuff to the States as well. You can see your notifications area here. Settings, wireless and network device, personal, account, system, and more. And then press and hold home to access Google Now. So very fast all around. You can see that quad-core processor at work. And let's take a look at messaging just to see the keyboard. I think for a lot of people, 5 inches is a nice sweet spot. We've kind of progressively over the years gone from 4 inches to 4.3 to 4.5 to 4.7 to 5. But I think for a lot of people, this is going to be that border between the Note 2 being too big and perhaps the Lumia 920 or something like that being too small. So, hey there, how are you doing? You can see pretty quick and easy to write on. Portrait to landscape transitions. Everything's nice and fast all around on this device, and that's something you're going to want in 2013 with your Android device. But again, I can't get over the industrial look and feel. Take a look at this in comparison to something like the Note 2. A little bit plasticky, a little bit more rounded on this device as opposed to the boxy, more industrial feel of this unit. Volume rocker, like I said, over there. And you've got your Sony stuff here, Walkman, album, movies, Sony Select, and more, which we'll delve into in depth with the walkthrough, with the snapshot review, with the full review, and then subsequent dogfights on PhoneDog.com. So really all around a fast device. First impressions, really decent here in terms of speed, performance. I hope this thing holds up. And again, in 2013, it's all going to be about the ecosystem. So we'll put the software to the test and compare it to Sense 5, to TouchWiz, and more as we go forward. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for continuing coverage of the Sony Xperia Z, or if you're British, the Sony Xperia Z, or Canadian, I guess, too. Sony Xperia Z on PhoneDog.com. Like us on Google+, on Facebook. It's Facebook.com/PhoneDog and Gplus.to/PhoneDog on Google+. I'm on Twitter at PhoneDog_Aaron, Facebook, Facebook.com/HiAaronBaker, and we'll discuss more on the Sony Xperia Z in the coming days. Keep it locked on the site for continuing coverage, and as always, we'll see you next time.